There is a point in life when the silence inside you is not peace. It's suffocation, a moment when you look around and nothing feels solid anymore. The walls you thought were built from certainty crumble into dust, and the path you once believed was clear fades into a fog so thick you can barely see your own feet. It's not just confusion, it's a hollow ache, an emptiness that stretches from the pit of your stomach to the edges of your soul. You wake up, and the weight in your chest is there before you even open your eyes. You go through the motions, eat, talk, work, smile, but inside, you are asking the same unspoken questions over and over. What am I doing? Why am I here? How did I get so far from who I thought I would be? And the worst part isn't not knowing the answer. It's the fear that there may not even be one. That is the moment many call being lost. But being lost is not an accident. It's not a random punishment the universe throws at you for no reason. Being lost is the breaking of an old shell. Aha! It is the quiet death of a version of you that can no longer survive where you are going. It's the tearing down of walls that were never yours to begin with. And yet, most people never see it that way. They see it as a curse. They see it as weakness. They think it means they have failed. They think it means they have run out of time. But the truth is this: when you feel lost, you have not failed, you have been found. Not by the world, not by anyone else, but by the deeper parts of yourself that will no longer tolerate the lie you've been living. You see, life has a way of pushing you toward authenticity, whether you agree to it or not. It strips away your illusions. It exposes the cracks in the foundation you built when you were too afraid to dream bigger. It takes the comfortable lies you told yourself. I'm fine. This is enough. I'll figure it out later. And it burns them until there's nothing left but the raw, unfiltered truth. And that truth is this: you are not where you want to be. You are not who you want to be. You are not living the life that your soul demands. That's why you feel empty. That's why every day feels the same. That's why you feel like you're walking in circles inside your own mind. Because deep down, you know there is more. There has always been more. The ache you feel isn't a flaw. It's a signal. It's the fire alarm in the burning building of your comfort zone. It's the shaking of the ground before the earthquake that will split your life into a before and after. The problem is, most people don't listen. They drown it out with noise, the noise of busyness, of scrolling endlessly, of filling their days with meaningless distractions so they don't have to face the truth staring back at them. They stay in jobs they hate. They stay in relationships that drain them. They keep living the same year over and over and calling it a life. And eventually they forget that they were ever meant for more. But you can't unfeel this. You can't unknow what you know now. The discomfort is too loud. The questions are too sharp. You are standing at the edge of something and you can feel it. It's terrifying, yes. But here's the paradox. Feeling lost is the clearest signal you will ever get that it's time to change. It's proof that the life you've been living is too small for the person you are becoming. It's proof that you've outgrown the version of yourself you've been pretending to be. So what now? This is where most people make a mistake. They wait. They wait for clarity before they move. They wait for a perfect plan before they take the first step. But the longer you wait, the deeper the fog becomes. The truth is, clarity does not come from waiting. Clarity comes from walking. You don't need the whole map. You don't need to see the end of the road. You just need to take the first step towards something real. Something that makes your blood move faster. Something that feels like oxygen in your lungs after years of breathing smoke. Feeling lost is not the end of your story. It's the doorway. And yes, stepping through it will hurt. You will have to leave behind pieces of yourself that you once thought were permanent. You will have to burn bridges that lead back to places you swore you'd never return to. You will have to face the darkness of not knowing who you are and walk through it anyway. But here is the unshakable truth. On the other side of lost is found. On the other side of confusion is clarity. On the other side of this ache is the life you were always meant to live. And the only way out is through. So if you feel lost right now, if every day feels like an echo of the last, if you're suffocating inside a life that doesn't feel like yours, don't turn away from it. Don't hide from it. Let it rip you open. Let it show you the parts of yourself you buried to make other people comfortable. Let it strip away the layers until you are standing bare in front of your own truth. Because that moment, the one where everything feels broken, is the moment the real story begins. The most painful prison in the world isn't made of walls or bars. It's made of the lies You tell yourself, the gentle lies that make you feel safe but keep you trapped. The soft excuses that sound reasonable enough to silence the voice in your head that's screaming for change. And when you feel lost, those lies multiply. They whisper, it's just a bad week. I'll figure it out eventually. The other people have it worse, but deep down, you know the truth. You've been stuck for far longer than you admit. The fog in your mind isn't temporary. The unease in your heart isn't random. You've been living on autopilot, repeating the same patterns, hoping that somehow, magically, things will change without you having to tear anything down. But nothing changes until you do. The truth, the real, unfiltered, unpolished truth is this. You are where you are because of choices you made and choices you avoided. You stayed when you should have walked away. You hesitated when you should have leapt. You silenced your own voice when you should have spoken. You traded your authenticity for approval, your fire for comfort, your dreams for the illusion of security. That's not self-pity. That's self-awareness. And there's a difference. Self-pity says, this is just who I am. I can't change it. Self-awareness says, this is where I am, and I refuse to stay here. But you cannot get to self-awareness without first standing in front of the truth, without looking it directly in the eyes and refusing to look away. Most people never do this. They keep themselves so busy that they never have to sit in a quiet room alone with their own thoughts. They drown themselves in noise, music too loud, screens too bright, conversations too shallow, because they know if it ever gets quiet, the truth will come for them. And when it does, it's not gentle. It will break you open. It will strip you bare. It will show you the pieces of your life that don't belong anymore. The habits that poison you, the relationships that drain you, the beliefs that keep you small. Facing the truth means admitting you have settled. Admitting you've been avoiding the hard conversations. Admitting you've been hoping the future will save you from the present you've built for yourself. But here's the paradox. The moment you stop avoiding it, the moment you name it, the moment you rip away the comforting stories and stand in the raw light of truth, you feel something you haven't felt in a long time. Power. Because the truth might hurt, but it's also solid. You can stand on it. You can build from it. Lies are quicksand. The more you stand in them, the deeper you sink. But truth, even the kind that shatters your illusions, is bedrock. And this is where you start to climb. You see, the mind loves illusions because they protect you from discomfort. They allow you to say, it's not so bad when deep down you know it's unbearable. They let you imagine that if you just wait long enough, something or someone will appear to pull you out. Bull. But no one is coming. Not until you decide you're worth saving. And deciding you're worth saving begins with being honest enough to say, I am not okay with this anymore. Say it about the job that drains your soul. Say it about the relationship that has become a cage. Say it about the habits that numb your pain but steal your future. The truth will not destroy you, but the avoidance of it will. Every day you live outside of it, you shrink a little more, until one day you no longer recognize the person in the mirror. So let yourself feel the sting of reality. Let yourself grieve the years you lost to fear. Let yourself rage at the wasted time, but don't stay there. That grief is fuel. That anger is energy. Channel it into the one thing that will pull you out of the fog. Action rooted in truth. Because once you face the truth, the excuses lose their grip. Once you face the truth, the fear starts to look smaller. Once you face the truth, you realize that being lost is not the problem. Pretending you're not lost is. And that's the turning point. That's when you stop waiting for the perfect rescue and start building your own way out. That's when you stop saying, I don't know what to do, and start saying, I may not know the full path, but I know the next step, and I will take it. The truth is not your enemy. The truth is your compass. And if you are willing to hold it in your hands, no matter how heavy it feels, it will lead you where you need to go. There comes a time when you have to stop being who the world told you to be and start being who you truly are. Not the version you've been performing for approval. Not the edited, watered down, socially acceptable mask you've been wearing so others feel comfortable around you. Not the shadow of yourself that you've been dragging through the years just to survive. The truth is, most people aren't living as themselves. They're living as the collection of roles they've been assigned. The good child, the reliable worker, the loyal friend who never says a no, the quiet dreamer who never disturbs the order of things. And here's the danger. You can get so used to playing those roles that you start to believe that's all you are. You forget the parts of yourself that don't fit the script. You bury the fire that once burned so fiercely because somewhere along the way, you learned that fire made other people uncomfortable. But here's the thing about burying yourself. The real you doesn't die quietly. It waits. It waits in the pit of your stomach every time you're about to say yes when you mean a no. It waits in the tension in your jaw when you're smiling in agreement while your heart screams in protest. It waits in the hollow feeling you get when everyone else is praising you for something that doesn't even feel like yours. And eventually, it breaks through. That's what people call a crisis, a breakdown, or feeling lost. But it's not destruction. It's reclamation. It's the real you rising from under the rubble of all the false identities you've worn like armor. Reclaiming your identity begins with a brutal, liberating realization. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not the opinions of those who couldn't see your worth. You are not the version of yourself that you became to survive. Every day you stay trapped in that false identity, you reinforce chains that were never meant for you. Chains made of guilt. Chains made of fear. Chains made of the belief that you owe the world a watered-down version of yourself just to be accepted. The truth. The world doesn't need your mask. It needs your raw, unpolished, authentic self, the one who speaks without filtering every word, the one who takes up space without apology, the one who dares to want more without shame. But here's the hard part. To reclaim yourself, you have to burn the script you've been handed. That means letting go of the approval that's been your lifeline. It means accepting that some people will not recognize you anymore, and some will walk away. It means risking being misunderstood, judged, or rejected, because the cost of keeping everyone else comfortable is losing yourself completely. You can reclaim your identity all you want, but if you don't break the chains holding you in place, you'll remain a prisoner, just one who knows they're in a cell. And these chains? They don't rattle like metal, they whisper like silk. They feel soft at first, safe, familiar, but they are the deadliest kind because you've worn them for so long, you've forgotten they're there. Some are made of fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of what happens if you leap and the ground doesn't appear beneath your feet. Some are made of comfort, the routines and habits that keep you from ever stepping into the unknown. Some are made of loyalty to people who have long since stopped rooting for your growth. Some are made of the lies you've repeated so many times. They sound like truth. And here's the thing, not all chains are forced on you. Some are self-imposed. Every time you say, I can't do without trying, every time you shrink so someone else doesn't feel small, every time you choose the easy thing over the right thing, you add another link to your own restraints. Breaking them is not a polite process. It's not quiet. It's not comfortable. Breaking chains requires force. It requires you to look at the very things you've been avoiding and tear them out of your life like they're poisoning you. Because they are. Fear will try to negotiate with you. It will say, stay here. You know this place? Out there is dangerous. Comfort will join in, whispering, why risk it? You're fine here, safe here. And in those moments, you must understand, fear and comfort are not your friends. They are the jailers who smile as they lock the door. Growth does not happen in safety. Change does not come from standing still. Every great leap forward demands you step into uncertainty. Every transformation begins with a risk. Ask yourself, which is worse, failing or never knowing who you could have been? Which is heavier, the weight of fear or the weight of regret? When you break a chain, you don't just lose the restraint, you lose the excuses. You stand there free with nothing left to hide behind. And that's terrifying because now it's all on you. Now there's no one else to blame for staying still. But here's the paradox. Freedom feels heavy at first. That's because you've been living with restrictions for so long that your muscles have forgotten how to move without them. It's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel scary. You're going to want to run back to the familiar, to slip the chains back on, just to feel that false sense of security again. Don't. That urge is the echo of your old life. Ignore it. Push through it. Because on the other side of that discomfort is the life you've been starving for. The life where you can breathe without permission. The life where you wake up with energy instead of dread. The life where your choices are your own. Breaking chains is not about reckless rebellion. It's about deliberate defiance. It's about refusing to let fear dictate your destiny. It's about taking the life you've been handed and saying, this is not enough. I will make more of it. Yes, some people will call you selfish for breaking free. They will say you've changed. They will say you've become distant. And they're right, you have changed. You have become distant from the version of you who accepted less than you deserved. You've become distant from the limitations they placed on you. But breaking your chains will inspire others who are still shackled. They will see your courage, and some will find their own. That's how change ripples through the world. One person deciding they will no longer live as a prisoner, and make no mistake. This isn't a one-time act. Some chains you'll break once and never see again. Others will keep trying to wrap themselves around you when you're tired, when you're afraid. You'll have to break them again and again until they stop fitting. Every time you do, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your fear. Every time you do, you step further into the life you were meant to live. Every time you do, the old you, the one who settled, the one who played small, becomes a little more unrecognizable. There will come a day when you look back and see the person you used to be, chained, hesitant, waiting for permission, and you won't even understand how you ever lived like that. That day begins with one decision: no more. No more waiting, no more shrinking, no more living like your dreams are optional. The chains are only as strong as your willingness to carry them. Drop them. Step forward. Never look back. Freedom means nothing if you stand still. Breaking the chains is only the beginning. Now you have to move. Because if you don't, the old life you escaped will start pulling you back, whispering for you to return, promising it will be different this time. Momentum is your shield against going back. It's the force that keeps you pushing forward even on days when your mind tries to convince you to stop. And here's the thing most people never understand. Momentum isn't built from giant leaps. It's built from small, consistent, deliberate steps taken every single day, especially when you don't feel like it. When you feel lost, your mind will try to trick you into waiting for clarity before you act. It will say, I'll start when I know exactly what I want. But clarity isn't what creates action. Action is what creates clarity. You can't think your way into a new life. You have to move your way into it. The first step doesn't have to be big. Learn one new skill. Have one conversation you've been avoiding. Change one habit you know is killing your energy. Wake up 1 hour earlier to work on something that's yours. These small actions might seem insignificant, but they are seeds. And seeds don't grow into towering trees overnight. They grow because they are planted, watered, and cared for consistently. The more you stack these small wins, the more they compound, until one day you realize you're no longer standing still. You're moving so fast that going back is no longer an option. But here's the key. Momentum requires discipline, not motivation. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the fire. Motivation comes and goes. It's unreliable. Discipline is what you do when the spark is gone, when you're tired, when the voice in your head says, just take it easy today. And every time you choose discipline over comfort, you strengthen the identity of someone who takes action no matter what. That's how momentum becomes unstoppable, not because you always feel like moving, but because moving has become who you are. Yes, you will face resistance. Yes, you will have days when nothing seems to be working. But momentum isn't about perfection. It's about refusing to stop. You don't have to sprint every day. You just have to keep moving, even if today's step is small. Because small steps stack. And when they stack, they shift something deep inside you. You start trusting yourself. You start believing in your own ability to create change. You stop waiting for permission. You stop asking if you're ready. You stop treating progress like a fragile thing and start treating it like your birthright. There's a point in the process when you cross an invisible line, when the energy of your own movement starts carrying you forward without constant force. That's the magic of momentum. You stop pushing against resistance and start being pulled toward possibility. Understand this. You're the person who creates it. And that shift, that's everything. Because when you've been lost, the most dangerous thing is not the confusion. It's the inaction. It's the waiting. It's the false belief that things will work themselves out without your effort. Momentum destroys that belief. It proves to you in real time that you are the one building the bridge from where you are to where you want to be. So here's how you do it. Start before you're ready. You'll never feel ready. That feeling is a trap. Move anyway. Stay consistent, especially when it's inconvenient. The days you least want to show up are the days that count the most. Stack your wins. Small victories build confidence, and confidence builds bigger victories. Protect your pace. Don't let distractions or other people's urgency knock you off course. And above all, don't stop, not for fear, not for comfort, not for anyone's approval. Because the truth is, once you've built momentum, stopping becomes the only way to lose. Even failure can't stop you if you keep moving. You can fail forward, you can stumble forward, you can bleed forward. The only thing you can't do is stand still. Your life changes the moment movement becomes non-negotiable, when it's not something you try to do, but something you simply do. Like breathing, like eating, like existing. The momentum is not about speed, it's about direction. And every step you take is a declaration. I will not go back. I will not wait. I will not waste this life standing still. Keep moving, and the path will reveal itself. Keep moving, and the fog will lift. Keep moving, and you will wake up one day so far from where you started that you won't even recognize the ground you used to stand on. That is the power of relentless momentum. It doesn't just take you somewhere. It turns you into someone. This is it. This is the moment where you decide who you are going to be from this day forward. Not next week. Not when things settle down. Not when you feel ready, because readiness is a myth. The decision is here now in this breath. You've faced the truth, you've reclaimed your identity, you've broken the chains, you've built momentum. Now there is only one question left. What are you going to do with it? Because here's the brutal reality. The world does not care about your potential. It doesn't care about your intentions. It doesn't care about the dreams you hold quietly in the back of your mind. It only responds to what you actually do. Potential is worthless without action. Dreams are worthless without execution. Belief means nothing unless you're willing to back it up with relentless movement. You cannot wait for permission anymore. You cannot sit on the sidelines and hope that life will somehow hand you the future you want. Life does not give, it responds. It mirrors the energy you put into it. If you show up small, it will give you small. If you show up afraid, it will give you reasons to stay afraid. If you show up with everything you have, it will break open in ways you cannot imagine. But you have to show up fully, not halfway. Not dipping your toes in the water while keeping one foot on the shore. Burn the bridge back to your old life. Stand in the middle of the fire and decide you are going to make it work, no matter how long it takes, no matter how many times you have to get back up. Understand this, transformation is not a single dramatic moment. It's 1,000 tiny moments where you choose differently than before. It's saying yes when fear tells you to say a no. It's showing up when comfort begs you to stay home. It's risking failure rather than guaranteeing regret. And yes, you will fail. You will get hurt. You will be judged. You will lose things along the way. Friendships, routines, pieces of the identity you once clung to. But you will gain something far greater. The ability to look in the mirror and know you fought for yourself. Most people go to their graves with